Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for something that I didn't think I was actually planning on reviewing, and that is going to be for the Switched at Birth Christmas special. And I'm going to explain why I wasn't planning on reviewing the Switched at Birth Christmas special. First of all, it looked completely unrelated to the rest of the show. It did not look very good in my opinion. It looked like they weren't even, the Fosters continued storylines. It tried to have some storylines in there that actually were relevant with what was going on in the show. I know Pretty Little Liars is doing it, but Switched at Birth did a completely what if episode, and it kind of seemed like just sort of a repeat of EC Mono, and they've done that before. So I wasn't really looking forward to this episode, but I gotta say, guys, this episode was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a very good Christmas special. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. And not just, don't think of it as a regular episode, think of it as a Christmas special. They were very successful. It was funny, it was dramatic, and, there were there were actually some really good scenes in there I definitely really enjoyed. A lot of stuff that I wasn't expecting. And overall, I thought it was a lot of fun to watch, and I was surprised by how much I was enjoying it. I really loved the Christmas special. And I will say one thing to you guys. I will not be reviewing Switched at Birth individually anymore. When it comes back in January, I'm not reviewing Switched at Birth individually. And that is because of Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They'll be coming out. And I won't be reviewing Switched at Birth individually because of that. So I'm not going to be reviewing it individually anymore. But let's get to this episode because overall I really enjoyed it. This episode is called Yuletide Fortune Teller. And the basic plot of this episode is that Catherine, this isn't going to be a long review because there's not too much to talk about, but Catherine is hounding Bay to shell her peanuts so that they can make her peanut brittle, and Bay's whining that you can buy peanut brittle at the store already made. Catherine explains this is her first Christmas with Daphne and Regina, and she wants to be perfect. She has all these sort of like elaborate traditions. There's like a karaoke thing, there's a peanut brittle thing, and Bay's kind of sick of it. They're not exactly happy about this. So they all head to dinner at their favorite restaurant, Sal's, where the garlic knots are magical, they say. And Catherine and Regina end up getting into an argument over whose family traditions they will follow. Because Regina has a tradition of watching Christmas movies with Daphne, that's what they do. And Catherine goes all out. She has like a huge, like, all this food, karaoke singing, just being together as a family, and they start to clash over that. So Daphne and Bay are kind of getting sick of it, and they decide to split the last garlic knot and discuss how much easier the lives would be if they had never been switched at birth. And then we go to the next morning, and we see that that's exactly what happened, that they have never been switched. And I thought this would have been a real cop-out, but it actually ended up working very, very well in my opinion, because it was not like EC Mono at all. EC Mono was a lot more mean-spirited. This had a lot of stuff in there, but it wasn't as bad as EC. EC Mono was fantastic, but this episode was also fantastic. And what this episode really did is it kind of got to show us what would have happened if their lives wouldn't have been switched. Daphne wakes up at the Kentish house. She's shocked when she can hear her alarm clock. She can hear now. And we find out that she's actually not Daphne because she lives with Catherine and John. Her name is Bay. So basically, Catherine works as a very successful cosmologist. She works in like face cream and things like that. And John is a stay-at-home dad athlete coach because Daphne is very successful in the Olympics. She's actually an Olympic champion. And I thought that was very well done. And what I like about this scene is that they showed their point of views. They show exactly what they were seeing. For Daphne, this is all new. She didn't even know the noises that things made. And I thought it was really cool to see that, definitely. The way they portrayed that even was very well done. I definitely really enjoyed that. And then we see Bay, and I love the way he portrayed Bay. We don't hear anything because Bay, for the first time in her life, can't hear a thing because she's now like Daphne. She wakes up at Regina's house, she can't hear anything, and Regina ends up calls her Daphne because now she's Daphne. And she's also confused when she hears the name Angelo, and we find out that she has a brother in this universe named Angelo Jr. And I gotta say, I really liked his character. A lot of people have said that we should see him. I want to see this actor come onto the show again as a new character because I really like this actor. I think he has a lot of potential on the show and has a lot of potential in ABC Family in general. I definitely want to see what this guy does because he's a very good actor, in my opinion. And I know this was a what if episode, but his character was definitely very well done. And out of all the characters, that he's the one I'd like to see the most of. So basically, they have no idea what's going on. Daphne rushes over to Regina's house where Bay is trying to listen to music on the radio. She can't figure out why they can't hear anything. She can't figure that out. And they're shocked when they realize that the switch never happened. They pretty much realize that. They never actually switch places at the hospital. They have no idea how they're supposed to switch back, and they kind of like their new lives. I mean, Bay has an art show at a gallery. Regina is a very successful beautician. She works as a beautician. Angelo did Angelo, we don't know what happened to him. We don't have references to him. We find out what happens a little bit later. And Daphne, of course, is trying out for the soccer Olympic team. So they really have good lives. So they figure, you know what, if our lives are good, why change them? Which makes sense, definitely. So Daphne heads back to the Kentish house where her parents are fighting over how much Catherine works. They're kind of upset about that because Catherine works 24/7. She's barely ever home. She works a lot. Think of how much Catherine is home. She's not home a lot because she works as cosmologist, and John's kind of upset about because he has to do all the work around there. And then we see Toby, and oh my God, Lucas Grabeel did a great job in this episode. What's cool about these What If episodes is that they get to play different characters. They get to sort of do a new version of that character. It's a lot like what Katie, now I can't think of her name, Katie Leclerc, I think her name is Leclerc, something like that. It's a lot like what she did when she had to play the bitchy side of Daphne and EC Mono. Toby is completely goth. He is, he's completely emo. He has his hair like in his eyes, like he's completely emo and everything. He lives in Seattle. He's covered in tattoos. He has his nose pierced. And John is basically the disapproving father. He's a very disapproving father. He's arguing with John about how much of a disappointment he is. And it was cool to see Toby sort of like in a different sort of role, definitely, because they're so proud of Toby for who he's become. And it was definitely interesting to see them not be proud of him and see Toby in a different sort of role. And I thought that was very well done. And I definitely really enjoyed that. Especially when he meets up with Bay. It definitely gets very funny there. So then we get introduced to Emmett and how Emmett's going to be on the show. Because Bay receives a text message from Emmett. She goes to meet him where she tries to hug him. And he shrugs her off right away. And that was like very surprising to see because of course we're so used to seeing Bay and Emmett so close and everything. And he completely shrugs her off. He wants nothing to do with her. And Bay learns that he actually called her there for advice because he's getting ready to go out on a date with a girl who doesn't even sign. She's a hearing girl named Madison. And Bay's pretty upset about this, definitely. So she's pretty upset about what's happened there. So Bay heads home and she's looking for Regina. She's telling Regina that that didn't work and everything. And she finds Regina has made a mess of the house. She tried to paint a Christmas tree on the wall. And she is passed out on the couch. So she sees that she was watching a home video and she presses play and it is such a sad scene. The Vanessa Morano's acting in the scene was amazing. You can see the look on Bay's face. It's her and her brother on Christmas morning and Angelo's there. Now, in this world, the aneurysm did happen, and the creators said that they wanted that to happen because if it hadn't happened, that wouldn't have given a reason for Daphne and, Daphne and Bay would have wanted to stay in this world because Angelo doesn't die. So, in this world, yes, Angelo did die, and because of that, Regina has some severe drinking problems. She has gone back to drinking. She's not gone to rehab like she did in Switched at Birth. She, of course, didn't get the help because there was no John and Catherine to suggest it. No one suggested it, so she didn't get the help and everything. So it was really sad to see that, definitely. It was very well done, though, in my opinion. I definitely really enjoyed that. She's passed out on the couch, and her brother comes home and wants to know why Bay let her drink. They get some paint and try to repaint the wall before Regina wakes up and is embarrassed. And Bay and Daphne meet up, and we get one of the funniest scenes with Toby. I thought this was hilarious. Toby comes home. He's basically looking for Daphne and everything. Daphne introduces Toby to Bay, and he calls himself Tobias. Oh my god. And Bay's just like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like, I myself am like, Tobias. The way they just completely did that, I thought was hilarious. And just so funny. The way they made his character was so funny. Added a lot of comedic humor to an otherwise very serious episode. And it was a fun episode, don't get me wrong, but there were some very serious moments here. They decide at this point that they have had enough with each other's lives, though. They want to switch back immediately. So they decide they have to get more of the magic garlic knots from Sal's restaurant. But it's Christmas Eve, so of course it's closed. So they head to the dumpster behind Sal's and start searching for leftover garlic knots. Sal catches them, and they explain what happened, and he laughs that the garlic knot is not the answer. And that's a very important line in this episode, that it's not about the garlic knots. This is not like, it's sort of like Freaky Friday in the sense of what happened. This is definitely sort of a Freaky Friday episode, but it's a little bit different. So, he actually gave all the leftovers to the homeless, so they're pretty much screwed now. They have to just continue living these lives. So now they just have to get their families back together on Christmas Eve, and they have to make, he gives them the recipe so they can try to make their own, and that's what they decide to do. So Daphne basically tells Catherine it's for charity, and that, it's charity and everything. And Regina agrees to go because Catherine is practically a celebrity. Catherine is a huge celebrity. She is one of the top cosmologists in the entire world. So when Regina hears about this, she's freaking out about it and everything. She's very happy. She really wants Catherine to, you know, maybe give her a position in this. She really wants that to happen. And I thought that was definitely very interesting in my opinion. I definitely really enjoyed that. So they meet up and everything, and one of the things I liked is the way they all met each other. It was definitely very well done. They all meet up with each other and everything. And you can see that Regina and Catherine, they are bonding over glasses of wine. But every time that Regina takes a sip of wine, they end up pouring it down the drain because they know what the alcohol does to her. So they're getting to know each other and everything, Regina and Catherine. And Regina tries to convince her to hire her at her cosmetics table, her cosmetics company. And she realizes that Catherine is not interested in that. She realizes that. Regina ends up telling her that her job is better. And I thought that was really funny that they got into an argument over whose job was better. Bay and Daphne are making the garlic knots in the kitchen. And Bay realizes how good of a cook she is because, of course, she was with Angelo, who, of course, we know is such a good cook because we saw that episode with him and Daphne when they bonded over that. And now that, Bay was raised with Angelo, she's a very good cook now. But then they realize that they're missing one of the key ingredients. So Bay texts Emmett to have him drop off the oil, and Regina then catches Daphne dumping her wine out when she isn't looking, and she confesses that she used to do the same thing to her dad because he wasn't a big drinker. So I thought that was interesting that we found that out. I thought that was definitely a very interesting reveal, especially because in present times, Angelo is a hard drinker, and in this he's not, which Regina that was. So I thought that was very well done. We also find out with Catherine that Catherine and Bay bond a little bit here because Catherine can cook in this world, but she doesn't want to because she has no motivation. You see, Catherine had those standard traditions, but nobody really appreciated them, so she pretty much just shut them down, and that's why her life is just work, 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 because nobody really appreciated those traditions that she had, and nobody really cared. And Bay tells her that someone did care, but that they didn't really appreciate it. And I like that Bay said that, and I definitely really enjoyed that scene. I thought that was a very well done scene. And then in the kitchen, Bay is completely grossed out because Tobias, as we're gonna call him, starts hitting on her, and she's obviously grossed out. When I saw that in the promo, I'm like, this is disgusting. Think about it. Toby is hitting on Bay. Bay never thinks of Toby that way, and just the way that scene was happening was hilarious. Bay convinces Emmett to kiss her to make him jealous. That was hilarious too. The way he just, the way, basically, the way she just like takes off and is like, "I'll call you later," as Bay. I thought that was really funny. So Catherine and Regina are screaming at each other. They realize their daughter set them up and this isn't for charity. Regina announces that they're leaving. Daphne panics and grabs a garlic knot and says she and Bay break it and repeat they wish they'd never been switched at birth. They wait, nothing happens, and everyone is literally shocked. Think about it. If you had a family and you just met like these friends and they said they wish they'd never been switched at birth, obviously you'd be freaked out because it didn't actually happen. And I thought that was very funny to see. The reactions were very funny, and I definitely really enjoyed that. And they are still in each other's places. because it's not about the garlic knots. So then we get a very good scene, probably one of my favorite scenes of the episode, definitely. Bay ends up visiting the Kenish house and tells Catherine she's sorry about the night before. Um, and of course, Catherine's like, well, Daphne's not here, so she surprises her with peanuts still in the shell and offers to make peanut brittle with her, sort of bonding with her over that because, of course, Bay didn't want to bond with Catherine over that. And I really like that, this was more about bonding with their mothers more than it was about them coming together as a family. Yes, it was about that, but EC Mono was more about what their family would have been like if Regina hadn't been there. That's what EC Mono was about. But this was more about how their life would have been if they had different mothers, and the way they bonded with their mothers was very well done. Daphne heads to Regina's house, gives her a gift, a Christmas movie, and Regina's saying, why don't you just go back to your house? You have a big party and everything. But Daphne says she's not interested, she'd rather do this, and they end up watching the Christmas movie together. That she used to watch movies on Christmas to avoid her dad's drinking. Basically, Regina said that she used to watch movies on Christmas to avoid her dad's drinking, and I thought that was interesting that we found that out. And Daphne orders some Chinese food. Regina agrees and invites her in, and all goes well because the next morning they wake up and everything's back to normal. So they're really happy about that. Regina comes in to apologize to Daphne about the Christmas traditions, and Daphne says she doesn't care. The Christmas traditions are fine. She loves their Christmas traditions. She wants them to stay the same. Bay is happy to see Catherine again. She gives her a nice big hug. It was nice to see Bay and Catherine, bond and everything. She tells Catherine she wants to bake cookies with her and everything. And the episode ends in a very good way. I love the way the episode ended. They end up telling a story about, they end up bonding as a family. Daphne asks why they can't, why they haven't spent Christmas together more. And basically, they all end up gathering around and they sing Have Yourselves a Merry Little Christmas. And it was a great way to end the episode. And that's basically the way the episode ended. And let me talk about something with this episode. I know this episode was completely unrelated to the rest of the show. It had nothing to do with what was going on. It had nothing to do with Bay's, going to jail or anything. It had nothing to do with that. But what it had to do with was the whole point of this show. Really, a large point of the show is about what their lives are like when they're switched at birth and how they have different mothers. And it was cool to see that, definitely. And for a Christmas special, I was happy they did this because the Fosters did a very good job, doing a Christmas special that actually had a storyline and related to those storylines. But Switch at Birth did something different, and I like that they did it because, in my opinion, it worked. That's why I liked it, because it worked. We did, however, see a promo for the Christmas for when it comes back in January, and all I can say is it's going to be crazy. But as I told you guys, I'm not reviewing Switch at Birth individually anymore, and I don't have time to. I might, if I don't get into my school musical, I might change that. But if I do get into my school musical, no, I will not be reviewing it individually. I will review the first half of season 4 and the second half of season 4. This was technically the final episode of season 3. I'm just going to say it was a Christmas special. It really just works as its own standalone episode. Everyone was fantastic in this episode. It was great to see some of the characters, sort of have fun with some of their characters, especially Lucas Grabeel. He did a great job playing Tobias. I thought that was very funny to watch. I love seeing, Catherine and Regina, their different point of views. It was a lot like EC Mono in the sense that they were all sort of different characters. It was cool to see, again, just like EC Mono, it was cool to see Daphne without her accent. Also, we found, with Bay, even though she was deaf, she was, professionally, she had really good speaking and everything, so I thought that was cool to see. It was cool to see John and Toby, sort of be against each other. And I'm wondering, Angelo Jr., I really want to see this kid again. He's a very good actor. I want to see him come onto the show and play a new character. He's a fantastic actor. I don't want to see him go away. I really like what they did with him on the show, and I want to see him do more. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, the only reason I really reviewed is because I really enjoyed the Christmas special. I'll see you guys in the next video, which, as I said, will be for either my review of the Pretty Little Liars Christmas special or for my review of the mid-season finale of The Flash. I don't know which one I'm going to watch live. Most likely Pretty Little Liars. I'm not sure. But let me know what you guys saw of this Christmas special. Did it work for you that it was completely unrelated to the rest of the show? That it was its own plot? I thought it worked. I thought it, it was fun enough. It kept my interest. It wasn't boring. It was fun to watch. It wasn't ridiculous. It made sense. It had a good message. It was a good Christmas special. It was fun to watch with the family. And really, that's what it all comes down to. That this was a Christmas special that you can watch with your family, that you can enjoy with your family. And I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a good Christmas special. And the Fosters, honestly, the Fosters, the Fosters, here's the thing with the Fosters. Fosters is more of a show that does those continuous storylines. Switch of Earth, though, was very good with these What If episodes. I want to see them do one every single season. They do a very good job with them, and I can't wait to see what their next What If episode is going to be. That's my review, though. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which, as I said, will be for your Pretty Little Liars or The Flash. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.